Hey there, this is a commentary on my zero kill zero knockout run of Old Friends in Red Redemption 2. And I just wanted to explain a few things, what I'm doing, how I came up with the strategy. So, obviously, right out of the way, I have to say that a lot of this strategy I saw an Azazel's video on the on his Goodest Boy in the West series. So a lot of what I'm doing here, for example, trying to get enemies to disarm Micah and other gang members and such. I copied or was inspired by, I guess, by his runs. Though I did actually manage in this run that I'm about to show you to get zero kills and zero knockouts without actually using that strategy. So in case you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, and I did investigate this a bunch in this run, is that you can get enemies to, if you disarm an enemy fully and they don't have a knife, they will run behind you, and sometimes you can get them to aggro on other gang members, and they will charge them and knock out their guns. And if a gang member, I don't know actually, I don't think Dutch has a knife actually, but Bill and Micah at least, if their weapon gets fully knocked out, they will take out their knife instead and start meleeing enemies. This can be very useful, and I got pretty close a few times in this mission to zero kills, zero knockouts with that strategy, and that's also how Azazel did it. But in this run, actually, I did a little bit different, and yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. So starting off here, I immediately run out and start lassoing enemies. And my goal here is to knock out the rifles out of as many enemies' hands as possible. And the goal with that is to make sure, I need to pause here. And the goal with that here is obviously to make it so that they don't kill me and the gang as quickly, and I have more time to figure out what I need to do. I mean, I do know what I want to do here. This is like the 100th run or whatever on that same strategy. So yeah, and speaking of which, I'm extremely lucky in that run. I'm actually surprised. I was surprised when I was doing this run, because you can see there are already two X's right in front of me on the minimap. Now, usually at this point in the run, I would start lassoing these two enemies. I would go to the left here. Let me go back a little bit here. I would go. I would go right over here. I hope you can see my mouse. I would go right behind this this wooden structure and start lassoing the two enemies which are already dead. So that's why I started running to the left here, and then noticed that they were already dead, and correct to the right. And usually I would stay then behind this wooden structure until my health fully recharged before I continued. But since they are already dead, I continue on with the rest of the procedure. So this is something that I have experienced before, but it happens extremely rarely. So this also is something that I mean, I don't have any statistics on this, but I would guess it's like a 1 in 100 type of thing. Yeah, so I was pretty happy about that, and so I immediately ran on to lasso the guy on top of the water tower that also Dutch is screaming about right now. So this guy, both me and Azazel both were worried about that this guy would die by falling down, but in my experience he has never died by falling down, even when I repeatedly throw him off the tower, so that's not of an issue. So here something interesting will happen, so I will go kind of slow here. You will see that in a second, right about here, there you go, an enemy has materialized behind me. So I don't know what the deal with that is. That just it happens most of the time. Sometimes this enemy spawns immediately when the scene starts, but most of the time he spawns at this part of the run when I'm entering this house. And I'm not quite sure what his conditions are for appearing. He's quite annoying because he has pretty good like he can shoot me in the back pretty well here, and it has happened a lot of times that he kills me at this point, but this time I got lucky. Also, I'm not worried at all about the guy who already was inside of the house, because as soon as I enter it, he always reliably decides to leave the house and instead stands on the porch outside, or even goes down to the minecarts with the other guys. So I can go into this house and rest a little bit there and heal if I need to, and also you will see I will turn around here and use this cover before lassoing the magical guy that appeared before. Also after this little spin here, that also happens sometimes. So here I got pretty lucky again. You can see there are only 2 enemies left here from, I think it starts at 4. Standing down there at the carts and at this wooden thing where you can see the enemy on the right. I think originally there are 3 or 4 enemies here, and now there are already just 2 left. And I think they get picked off in the next few seconds, if I remember correctly. So I was extremely lucky here. Again, and this also, sometimes these guys like last the whole fight, and I'll have to manually fully disarm them and stuff, but this time I think I do lasso them, or at least try to. Let's see, I think one of them actually dies right when I try to lasso him. Actually, I missed there, or rather the game didn't allow me to hit him. It seems like I should hit him, but like, yeah, it didn't want me to. Oh, the other guy died, okay, so yeah. Okay, so back here, I was lucky once again. So you can see right in front of me on the minimap there's another X, and that is the guy that's standing on the porch of this house I'm running towards, and he's dead already. And that's very lucky, because he's a major pain in the ass, because he actually has 2 guns besides his rifle. So later in this run, I will fully disarm most of the enemies that are still alive at that point, and obviously this guy having 2 guns is kind of annoying for that. But luckily, again, I don't know, in this run I pulled a lot of lucky cards with the gang killing enemies right away, and he was dead already. So only 2 on the right here are left on the other house. So I go around and also disarm them. So at this point I need to be somewhat careful, because it does happen that they rapid fire me sometimes when I'm here, and kill me even though I have full health core. Something similar will actually happen later in the run, where I was sweating a lot because of that. So this right here is the last enemy with a rifle. He usually starts in the other house that's in the background there, where I just disarmed the other guy, but sometimes he will decide to also move to this house where the 2 revolver guy is standing. I don't know why he does that sometimes, so I was searching for him in the other house and found him here now. So this is the last guy that has a rifle. I knew this also during the run. I keep track of all of the guys mentally. So I knew this was the last one. And I knew, after I disarm this guy, take out his rifle, I will start then individually fully disarming them, meaning that they don't have either any weapon or only the knife, and then they will start following me. And I will lead them towards the gang, so I can start playing here. So the thing with this situation is that he is slightly elevated above me, as you can see, slightly above me because of the stairs on the house there. And that means that Arthur cannot properly play the disarming animation, and so he punches him regularly instead. So this has ruined, I don't know, a large number of runs for me. Wanting to disarm an enemy, but instead Arthur knocks him out, or pushes him into a wall and kills him, or knocks him out, or whatever. So I was already about to throw my keyboard when I saw this, but luckily he was just punched but not knocked out. Here something weird happened as well, where this time I was standing above the enemy and tried to disarm him, but that caused him to fall over, and I was, again at this point, I was sure that I killed him, and I already had my finger on the restart button, but then he actually got up again, and I saw that all was not lost. So I take out his final gun, and I know this guy only has 1 gun, so I start running away and hide with Dutch, assuming that he will follow me, at least between Dutch and Bill, to get shot. But he actually ran through the building, and you can now see him in the background attacking Micah. So this is another situation. This is actually kind of similar to what I was speaking of at the start of the video, that sometimes enemies will, if they get the chance, melee one of your gang members. And specifically Micah is interesting there because Micah only has a single weapon. I mean, he has 2 guns, but that counts as a single weapon in this case. And so when he's disarmed of that, he will enter knife mode. Whereas Bill actually has 2 guns, so he has his rifle and then also a handgun. And Dutch also has his 2 handguns, but I'm pretty sure after Dutch gets disarmed, he just kind of stands around and does nothing. So in this case here, now if this guy disarms Micah, there's about 3 things that can happen in my experience. Either Micah will just stand there and do nothing at all. That happens rarely. Another thing that happens rarely is that Micah will run off into the woods. Like, I don't know, he gets into some scared or panicked state or something and runs off into the woods. In my experience, he will return about 5 minutes-ish later and join the fight again. But even so, he's like... And sometimes that can even be good because obviously in that time he can't really be damaged because he's off somewhere in the woods. And obviously the thing that happens most of the time is that he starts attacking people. Now in this case I didn't actually want that because I was pretty close already, farther than most of my runs, to knocking out and disarming and everything, I'm sorry, not knocking out, specifically not knocking out, obviously, but like disarming and everything, the enemies, and a lot of them had been killed already, which was so lucky. So I didn't really want to jinx it by having Micah run into the open and potentially get shot. So I didn't actually like to see that, and I was about to intervene. But you will see here that actually Bill shoots him right away, which is extremely lucky. But it could still have been the case that he got off the disarm in time. So I was still looking if Micah has his guns. And luckily he still does. So I continue on. So this guy is stuck in this cart, which makes him virtually impossible to disarm. I'm pretty sure, like, and I don't even really try because I'm sure, like, if I attempted to punch him there, I would have probably actually punched him and potentially knocked him out. So I decide to kind of just ignore him for now and hope he gets shot. But actually, when I turn around, he's already somehow out of the cart. I don't know, he moved very quickly there and now he's already out of the cart. So I return to him and knock him out. But actually, in the same time I knocked him out, he gets shot by one of the gang members. So lucky on that. So I need to do a little bit of healing here. So this is an interesting enemy right here. This is one of the enemies that usually has to be killed by Arthur. So there are 2 enemies that reliably have to be killed by Arthur. One is the one on the water tower, and one is the one all the way on the right side of the map, on the right back side of the map, where a 2-gun boy also stands around usually. And I left that one alive, if you have noticed. This guy in front of me here, I don't fully understand him. I have had many situations where he gets shot. I have had situations where he gets knifed by Micah, for example, if I pursued that strategy. But also I have had multiple times that that this was the last guy standing and like all of the gang members were shooting at him and Micah was repeatedly knifing him and doing an execution type animation on him and he would still get up. So it seems like this guy is sometimes an unkillable NPC and sometimes he is not. I don't fully understand what the pattern is with this guy. Also, he usually doesn't leave the porch. So usually he's on this, if you see on the back left, there's another enemy, and on the left of that, there's this porch, the stairs going up on this porch thing. And he usually is pretty stuck up there. I don't know what motivated him to leave that. It could also be the case that I'm mistaking him with some other enemy, but I'm pretty sure because he has this somewhat recognizable mustache that this is the usually not killable NPC I'm talking about. In any case, because I want to make sure I will not lead this guy to the gang because he has a knife, as you will see in a bit here. He has a knife, and I don't want to take any chances that he will kill one of the guys. Also knocked off my head. So here you will see my strategy for dealing with these guys. So before I show it to you, and you might already be able to tell where it's going. I want to tell you about one alternative strategy that I found, and you will know that strategy if you watched my, if you've seen how I beat the very first mission in the game without knocking out or killing anyone. And that is by climbing onto a roof, having the enemy follow me, and as soon as they're up there, getting into a brawl with them, blocking their hit, which makes them take a step backwards, and they will fall off the roof, and usually on the first try, but sometimes it takes a few attempts, they will be knocked out, and I have decided by my own rules that this does not constitute a knockout on Arthur's part because he was already only blocking. So this also works on this map. I haven't shown it yet where that, I don't think it will actually come up in the video, the place where you can perform this in this map. And I'm sure there are multiple places actually. But there is a place in this map where you can perform the same trick I did in the first mission that I just described. However, it's not as reliable. Enemies will often not correctly pathfind up to the spot and instead stop chasing Arthur and go after another gang member instead. So this was, I was experimenting with this a lot, but like it turned out that it wasn't that reliable. I also pulled enemies up on the roofs using the lasso sometimes, and I did this particularly if I had Micah running around with the knife. And then I had Micah also follow me up on the roof, which he will do if the guy he's chasing is also on the roof. And I had them fight on top of the roof, which would sometimes result in Micah executing the enemy. He does that a lot, but the enemies will then stand up again. But if he executes them off the roof in a way, they will also fall off the roof and die. So this is a strategy I attempted for a while, but it was too unreliable. So here's one I found that was extremely reliable in my experience, even though a little bit dangerous. That is this campfire here. So what I will do, and it will work very quickly for this first enemy, so I will explain it before you see it, is I will just basically dance around this campfire with the enemy, making sure the fire is between us. And he will obviously stab at me or punch at me, and during that he will take a step forward. And I will either block his punch or step backwards and dodge the punch. In any case, he's taking a step forward and obviously taking a step into the fire, which even though it doesn't play an animation at first or it doesn't play a sound or anything, it does actually damage the enemy. And this first one must be damaged already because he pretty much dies immediately, as you will see here. Yeah, there he goes. So even though there's no fire on him, he's actually on fire. And you will see later in the clip that he has, at least later, some fire effects on him. So I don't know, he's in some sort of weird on fire state right now where it's not really visible that he's burning, but he is. And obviously he's also dead. And I would say that Arthur has no fault here because in reality, Arthur was just running around the fire, minding his business in a way, dodging the guy's knife, and he just happened to step into the fire or decided to maybe even. So it's either an accident or potentially the guy even wanted to, I don't know, get warm or whatever. So in my headcanon, this counts as no knockout. There's another enemy here, the one that I left alive purposefully, that needs to be dealt with in the same way. Now, at this point, I'm a little bit confused because usually he's standing pretty much right there on this porch or on the back of the house where these logs are. And I'm looking and not seeing him, and also not seeing him on the mini-map. And because of that, I'm kind of getting really excited right here because I'm thinking about if he has died somehow, because I've not dealt with him yet, and he's not here. So he must have died somehow. And that would be incredible because that means there's some mechanic that I haven't understood yet that kills him sometimes, and that would have been extremely interesting to investigate. So I'm looking around to see where he is, but as it turns out, you will see in a bit here, he has in fact not died. He was just hiding somewhere behind the house here, and now he's back. And so now I'm chasing him. Oh, how often I have heard that voice line at this point. So now I'm knocking a gun out, obviously, having him follow me, making sure to stay well fed and hydrated on the way. And so now you can see the same strategy again, and this time it will take a little bit longer. So again, I'm dancing around the fire with him, trying to get the fire between us, and having him step into the fire. So this one will actually take a few attempts because he doesn't want to punch me that much. And I think you can tell when he does the animation that he is stepping into the fire. It's somewhat obvious. And there he goes. So at this point we only have 2 enemies left. One at the back there that we can currently see is a, let's say, regular enemy. So he can be killed by the gang. And I think I will go for him first. Disarming him. Actually gave me a little bit of trouble if I remember correctly. Yep, there you go. I could not disarm him correctly. So this one also has the same mustache as the first enemy I killed with using the fire technique. So it could be the case that this is actually the enemy that is sometimes not killable by the gang. He is also standing closer to the porch, which strengthens that theory. However, in this case, he is killed here by the gang, so I don't know what's going on there. I have had him be invisible. Luckily not invisible, but I have had him invincible, either this guy or the other one, in so many runs. So I don't know what causes him to be killable here, but in any case, I'm happy he did decide to be killable on this run. So he was a little bit scared, you can see. Also, sorry, here some video artifacts here. I don't know. That's gotta be a VLC player. So here I'm a little bit scared because I'm about 1 or 2 bullets away from dying. So RNG could have killed me right there, but luckily he decided to focus on the gang. And this up there is actually the last enemy that needs to be dealt with. So I'm kind of healing up here because I really do not want to die this far into the run. Again, falling him down. I don't have to worry about him dying. He has never died falling down. Knocking out his gun. This guy also has a knife. And besides having a knife, I now have the issue that all of my gang members are shooting at him and pulling aggro away from me. So here, luckily, I get him to follow me behind the house, which is already a good start. Here I got stuck on the on the thing, but miraculously still dodged his slice. But here, as you can see, he lost interest in me. I don't even know who hit him. I don't think anyone hit him, actually. I think he just decided that I was running too much or whatever. And so I need to start lassoing him. First to get him closer to the fire, but also to once again gain his aggro. The issue here is that, and that's also how you can tell some of these invincible enemies, is that you can't actually permanently lasso them. You can't really pull them. You will see I lasso him here, and you can see I'm holding him here, right? And you will see in a second that it actually released this, but that is not because I really released him. It's because the game releases him on his own here. So this wasn't me, actually. This was the game just doing that. So I don't know why that happens. I guess there's some logic here that you can't pull these enemies that need to be killed by Arthur. So that's also how you know that he's one of them. Also, I haven't said this yet, but in case it wasn't obvious, you cannot hogtie enemies in this mission, in this specific mission. Not in this phase and not in the next either. They will always slap you before the animation completes and stand up again. So now I've got him to follow me again. I'm kind of just fleeing here from him because I really do not want him to kill me this close to the end. And I was actually kind of scared here because I only have the core left and no ring on my health here. But I got him into the position I want him. We're dancing on the fire. Here he's actually standing a little bit on top of the log, and because of that, when he tried to melee me, he kicked me instead, which happens when enemies are above you. And I was really scared that would somehow mess up the run, but as it turned out, it was fine. Here it looked like he would start chasing the rest of the gang, but also again he decided to rather stick with me, so that was nice of him. And here we go. I think that's the point. There you go. Very very dramatically decided to fall over. So obviously right after this run, I also continue with the next phase, but it did not work out, so we're going to skip a couple tries ahead. So I did not do both tries in one go, which is a little bit disappointing. It would be very nice if I had done both attempts. So both phases of this fight is what I like to say here. So this was the first phase, now here comes the second one. It would be very nice if I could do both of them in one try. Did not work out on that one. Maybe I will try at some point to get it done, but at this point I've been at this specific at this specific level for like a few months, so I would rather move on for something else for now. So anyway, this is the same day, but like an hour maybe later after the first clip ended. And here we have the guys running out of the forest. So nothing really interesting is happening here for now. I'm doing pretty much the same thing as usual, which is lassoing people, or destroying tools. As you can see here, the game did not allow it for it to happen. I forgot to mention something. You saw it right here. Maybe you were already wondering about this. So notice how when I lasso this guy, let's wait for that to happen again. So you can see that the lasso is on the floor, and Arthur is now starting to pull it back. And this will take a while. So this pulling back animation, especially when the lasso is far away, obviously, will take quite a while, leaving you exposed to damage. And I have found that by switching to the knife, not using the wheel but the short key, the hotkey for it, you can break this animation, immediately go to the knife. This is what I do right here. So in case you didn't know, the number keys can be used to cycle between weapons, similarly to the weapon wheel. And I bound the lasso and the knife to side buttons on my mouse for quick switching. So that's what you have seen me doing this whole video. I haven't explained it before. That you can that you can see me throw the lasso at someone, and as soon as I see it connect and them starting to fall over, I immediately switch to the knife in order to break the animation, so I can quickly continue running or throw the lasso again. So this guy, I could have lassoed him, but he already has no rifle, so there would have been no point. So I go for this guy instead. And since they both only now have revolvers, which in the grand scheme of things don't really do that much damage, I start looting these other guys because I hope for a health tonic or mirror tonic or something like that. That will help me in the rest of the fight. I wasn't that lucky. I don't think I get anything that will really help me in the health department here. So now I disarm this guy and the other one as well, with the goal of continuing to the next phase of phase 2 here. So you can see the game here actually kind of forbids me from looting this guy. I don't know what's going on there. He just got shot, and you can see I'm standing on top of him and I can't loot him. I don't know if that's because the other enemy is too close or something else, but that's why I'm standing here with the corpse of this man. I wanted to loot him, but it didn't work out for me. In any case, it probably wouldn't have worked anyway, because you can see the other one is attacking me, but he will die right now. So here you have the choice of advancing on the enemies or holding back and holding the position. And I have found that it is usually easier to go into the woods and try to hunt them down. It's obviously risky as well. You will, as I said, this took a whole bunch of attempts because all enemies have rifles at the start and all shooting at you, mostly if you're going at them, and so you will die. And so this is a whole bunch of luck obviously involved again. I don't know even how much this is skill based, so let's just continue the video here. In any case, I'm happy to still have a few health items left, most of which I picked up from Sadie's house. I also have the salted offal or whatever it's called from the mission where you go hunting with Charles, which I did before this. So that I have a little bit more to use for health. Oh, there's another thing I didn't mention. You can see that I have a lot of stamina, but not a lot of health. So the health amount is the default one you have at the start of the game, but as you can see I have a lot more stamina. And that is just because I just ran around a bunch in Colter before this mission to build up my stamina, because you've been seeing me running this whole time, and if Arthur was panting every 10 meters, that would have been extremely annoying. So I did this in preparation. Another thing I want to mention at this point is that all of these enemies can be killed by the gang except one, in my experience. And this one guy is either this one in front of me or one of the two that are behind me to the left and right. I'm fairly sure it's one that spawns on the back right here where Arthur is currently. And one of these guys is not killable by the gang. He's quite similar to the other ones that we saw before. I can't drag him. I can fully disarm him, but he will not be killed by the other gang members. In fact, he will, if you leave him long enough, he will kill the other gang members because they can't really damage him. And so the strategy would have probably been to also lead that guy to the fire somehow. But as it turns out, I don't need to do that, and I can continue playing the video here. As it turns out, I don't need to do that because the mission is set up in a way where... Oh, I almost died here. That was extremely scary. I almost died there, and but Micah came in clutch and tackled this guy before he could kill me. So here I'm frantically putting away the lasso so I can eat something or drink something rather. Okay, so what I was just saying is that luckily the way this mission is set up, you see this sometimes in the game, is that the remaining enemies will run away if the majority of them is defeated. And in this case, the amount is set up in such a way that it actually, you have to kill every single one but one enemy, and then the remaining enemy will run away. And so if you kill all the enemies which are killable, the one guy who is not killable will run away on his own. So at this point I don't even know which one it is. It must be the one on the right there of the map, but so the one I'm running towards right now. Fairly sure it's this guy, but I don't know for sure. I haven't played this phase nearly as much as the first one, and I'm not 100% sure which one of these guys is the one I mean. So here we're about to see a scary moment. So this is actually the last enemy I personally need to disarm or deal with, I guess. And you can see he's holding his weapon, and I'm going towards him. But because of something, probably because I'm coming at him from some weird angle or something, the game decides that what I want to do is bash his head into the tree. So you can see I take him, and I was about to bash him into the tree, which would have jeopardized this run, because obviously punching people into the tree counts as a KO, and that would have been very infuriating because this is literally the last guy. However, as you can already see in this frame, pretty much in the same moment I went to grab him, one of the gang members shot him, and there he goes. He's dead. So that was extremely lucky. I don't know who of the gang members shot him there, but I am obviously eternally grateful to them. So now the mission is done. You can see this guy's running away. So maybe I was probably right then. This was the last one. And you can see he had his knife in his hand, so he was probably about to kill one of the guys there. So again, extremely lucky. Both of these phases were extremely lucky. So yeah, and I was very happy in this moment. So I shot into the air once. So one more thing, because I will stop the recording will stop here in a second of the playthrough. After this, obviously, you need to go on and catch Kieran, and nothing in there needs any special explanation. You lasso him, you carry him, and that's that, obviously. One thing I did do in preparation for potential future missions is that once you have Kieran on your horse, the game instructs you to ride back to your base. But there's nothing really stopping you from just not doing that and just riding around inside of Amberino. You can't cross the border. That will trigger a fail. And it's not quite the border. It's like there's some invisible border somewhere that when you cross it, it counts as a fail. But you can explore Amberino quite a bit while Kieran is on your horse. And I used that opportunity before I create the next save, before the next mission. I used that opportunity to ride to a few places and gather things that I might need later, mostly food and everything, and also a lot of money. And this is just a little tip. It has nothing to do specifically with this mission. Just a little tip is that you can actually ride to, I think it's, I don't even specifically know how it's pronounced, but I think it's called Chess Porter or something. You know, the place where the people live who speak in a weird own accent. And obviously you're supposed to go there later with Javier and like rob it, and so there's a lot of money there. But at this point in the game, there's no one there. There are no NPCs there, but all the money and everything is. And so you can go there and collect a lot of food, a lot of cigarette cards, a lot of money, and also a pump action shotgun if you want to use that. You cannot you cannot find the hidden stash that you're actually there to rob in Javier's mission, but you can collect a lot of other stuff. So I did this after the recording stops here. Then I returned home with Kieran and turned him in. So yeah, that's that done. Once again, these were two separate attempts, and on the same day actually though. So at least there it's somewhat continuous, and but yeah, I could not manage to do it in one single go. And I guess another thing to mention is that obviously the recording started there when I'm already here in the O'Driscoll camp and not when I'm still at Coulter. But there, nothing happens on the way from Coulter to the O'Driscoll hideout. You don't have to fight anyone, so there's nothing there to record really. All right, I think that's all that I have to explain here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you hopefully very soon on the next episode of me trying not to kill or knock out anyone.